Welcome to Dark Docent. My name is Jake. Join me as I guide my friend James down the paranormal rabbit hole, attempting to prove the authenticity of a new case each week. Today's case: Hail Crawlers and the That's Not Human 911 call.
Have you seen those new Sora 2 videos? The new version of the videos?
Are those ones that are super realistic?
The ones, like all the body cam ones, like the dog body cam in the car, or the cat, or SpongeBob.
I think so.
The super realistic ones in the last few days, yeah.
I saw one. Here's how real it was, okay? I actually questioned it and thought it was a massive Mandela effect for like a moment. It was a video of Chris Benoit returning to AEW, WWE's rival company, and had AEW's like arena, and I was like, that is AEW's Titantron and shit. And they like aged Chris Benoit just so that it looked like he would be 60. And I was like, what the? Like, no, you fucking idiot. He did a murder. What the fuck? No, that's not.
Yeah, it is like stupidly, incredibly good. And they just like completely disregarded all copyright law and everything. And just basically every video in existence, they've probably just sucked in and used to train it.
Yeah. Here's the video. I could not believe it.
Is he Canadian?
Yeah, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Had a Canada flag in the background.
Yeah. The thing is that is the same filter AEW uses. That is the same camera angles. It actually had the real announcers behind this table, and those are actual like camera clips they use when they're clipping to the audience. It looked just like an episode. The only time I realized it was AI is when they flicked back to Chris Benoit coming down the aisle, and his Titantron changed slightly. Not the fact that he's dead and that he murdered his family. What made me clue in that it was fake was, wait a minute, the Titantron's off. That's the kind of wrestling autism I have.
The best kind.
It is. How you doing today, James?
I'm doing all right.
That's good.
How are you?
I'm good, but something happened in the news this week.
In the news this week?
The paranormal news. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I don't know if I have either.
Okay. Well, James, I have a story for you, but we're going to start it a bit different. I have a 911 call to show you. Let's get into it. I have a story for you. July 31st, 2021, Pender County, North Carolina. A driver known as T is driving home to see his family. It's about 11 o'clock at night, and as he's driving along the highway, he sees an injured man on the side of the road. He claims that the man appeared to have maybe an injury to his head, and blood was draining down all over his face. And his clothes appeared to be Civil War era, like he was a part of the army. He calls 911 to report an injured man and try to get some cop out here to help him. I'm going to play you that 911 call, James.
Pender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
Yes, ma'am, and it looked like he was bleeding because when I drove by, I had my high beams on, and all I could see was just some streaks of red going down his body, starting at his head.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get exactly where you're at. Okay.
I'm kind of in the middle of the woods at the moment.
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with the area.
What the fuck?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck! In the bed!
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed lights for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, so when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
As you could hear, something hit the truck. Very obvious. And the man shouted, "That's not human. That's not human." T, the driver of this truck, claimed that he was moving at 50 miles an hour. The creature was pale and humanoid with deep black eye sockets. And when he braked, the creature was actually thrown over the roof and down in front of his car over the hood and the windshield. And then in the headlights, the creature stood up. According to T, his truck was 6 feet tall at the roof, and this creature was taller than that, easily at 7 foot. Quote, "It looked like a human got stretched out." He eventually pulled over at a gas station, and there was damage to his truck. There was a big dent in his roof, there were scratches all over the bed and on the roof, and there was even some on the hood when the creature attempted to grab on after it flew over. This was corroborated by police, because we also have the CAD notes that show all of this happening. But this isn't a one-time thing, and this isn't the first time that this creature's been spotted. There has been easily hundreds of sightings, possibly thousands, going back to as early as the 1950s, but possibly earlier. James, have you heard of pale crawlers?
No, this one's new to me.
Okay.
Pale crawlers.
Pale crawlers.
Kind of like a Wendigo?
Funny you mentioned that. Yes. Let
Oh,
me show you an image.
how about that?
Pale crawlers are described as gaunt, tall humanoids and rather disproportionate. Normally their torsos are a bit smaller, their heads are big, their arms are long, and their legs are long, and they are hairless and pale white all over. Sometimes they have like a light pink or blue tinge to the skin, and sometimes they are slightly translucent, showing bone. They walk on all fours, but can be bipedal, and they're also known to throw or mimic voices. Now, I'm going to show you an image of a pale crawler, and I'm positive you've seen this image. This is a pale crawler.
Yeah, it looks somewhat familiar.
You've probably seen that image on several thumbnails when talking about spooky stuff or creepypastas, things like that.
Yeah.
This image is pretty famous on the internet. So that's a pale crawler. And you said earlier, like a Wendigo. Yes and no. So these creatures are called pale crawlers, but they are also commonly called the rake, skinwalker, or Wendigo. Also, sometimes they are confused with the knot deer. I'm going to tell you the difference between all of these,
Sure.
because they're all wrong.
Okay, and I don't necessarily know the difference. Maybe the deer, but
Yeah, maybe.
the rest of them not so sure.
Okay, so the internet took Skinwalker and Wendigo and just spit that out like wildfire on every creepy video they could, because it got really popular when podcasts started blowing up and TikTok started blowing up talking about skinwalkers. And it was very, very obvious that a lot of people did not know what a skinwalker was. I literally saw a video today of a man saying skinwalker spotted in Canada, and it was a moose. It was a moose walking through the woods. And I think he confused that with a Wendigo with the deer head and and then said it was a skinwalker. Both of those are incorrect. So I'm going to do some education. Let me learn you something.
Please do. I'm ready to learn.
So, the rake.
Mm-hmm.
The rake's not real.
Okay.
The rake is a creepypasta. The rake is a monster made online on 4chan back in the 2010s. And this is the image commonly acquainted with the rake. Now it is pale, It is humanoid. It is gaunt. All descriptions of the pale crawler. But the reason people think this thing could be real is because people are like, oh, I saw the rake. Or even now you'll be like, rake sighting. Because the rake became a really popular story. It came out around the same time as like Slender Man and the Russian sleep experiments.
I was just going to say it. That's what it was reminding me of was the pictures I've seen in the Russian sleep experiment creepypasta.
Totally based on the rake. They're all kind of based on that. And
Yeah.
even movies now copy that image and put it into their shows. Like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Skinny, tall, gaunt things are a total trend right now. But the rake is not real. Anyone who says they've seen a rake, they've probably seen a pale crawler. The rake is not real.
Could the rake just be a pale crawler?
No.
Okay.
Because the rake was actually a thing that was made on 4chan by an amalgamation of people.
Is there an actual difference between what the rake was said to be and a pale crawler?
As far as I know, I couldn't see the rake mimicking voices and stuff like the pale crawlers can.
Okay.
And also in the rake stories, they're not really seen in the wild. They're seen in people's bedrooms. They sneak in and sit on the edge of your bed and stare at you like a demon or a ghoul. But this sort of rake idea has been associated with, this picture has been associated with skinwalkers, wendigos, rakes, ghouls, demons,
Right.
aliens.
Right.
This image just is popular.
Yeah.
And actually, the weird part is no one knows where that image is from. And the possibility of it being real is actually still up there because no one can confirm it's fake because no one knows its source.
Did anyone try asking 4chan who made it?
Didn't come from 4chan. We don't know where it came from.
It could have come from 4chan. A lot of stuff has come from 4chan.
It could have, but we don't know. That's the thing. We can't find a source. We don't know where this picture is from. But 4chan, they had a thing going on where they said we wanted to make a monster, a group monster, and people would throw in things and make lore and stuff, and that's how they made the rake. So the rake's not real. Now, skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are not the rake, and they are not pale crawlers. Do you know anything about skinwalkers or what they look like or anything about them?
They keep them on a ranch, right?
No. They keep people on their ranch.
Skinwalkers, don't they just kind of look like different things? Like, can they look like different animals?
Yes.
And you said earlier, I think, that they can mimic voices? No, sorry, you said the pale crawler mimics voices.
Pale crawler can mimic and throw voices.
Right. I don't know much else about the skinwalker, I don't think.
Okay.
Probably dangerous, if I were to guess.
Extremely.
Good thing they're not real, then.
Here's the thing. Skinwalkers are not a national thing. They're not, lots of people will say, skinwalker in the woods. A skinwalker is traditionally from the Navajo tribe. You'll find them more in New Mexico, Nevada area. And people in that area take skinwalkers very seriously. You can't say skinwalker, and you can't even say like the original native name of the skinwalker.
Can you say it right now?
The traditional native name for a skinwalker is Yi Naldushi. Yi Naldushi translates to by means of it, it goes on all fours. Or he who goes on all fours. So what a skinwalker is it is essentially a shaman from the native tribe who has been corrupted and sold his soul to become a shapeshifter, to use that as vengeance or to be a murderer in the tribe. And that does sound like hearsay, but people in Navajo, they take it extremely seriously. And they actually have police officers on the reservation in the Navajo regions that investigate paranormal activity exclusively. And one of the things they commonly get called out to is skinwalkers. So that is actually a real thing. Well, not skinwalkers. That's still up for debate. We haven't done a case on them yet. But people take it seriously.
Right.
But they are not these pale humans. They are not what these things are. I think people just see the tight, fleshy skin and call it skinwalker.
Yeah, I will wait for our skinwalker episode before I ask any more questions.
Okay.
Because I could probably just go off for a while on the skinwalker, but that's not what we're here for.
About how they're not real and how you're going to give me shit about it?
No, I just want to, just ask stuff like, oh, what about this? Oh, how about that? Or the other thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about skinwalkers when we get to it.
Yeah.
Last one we get onto here, the Wendigo.
Ooh.
Can you describe to me what a Wendigo is?
Kind of like no, not really. But I did see, I think there was a game that came out that was Wendigo based. And what I recall from that is they're kind of like pale humanoid things that kind of crawl and have claws and stuff. And that's really about it based on that game. Kind of like that picture, actually. But not exactly.
How astute of you, James.
I think they had like bigger heads on them.
No, actually. So the game we're talking about is Until Dawn. The first game is about Wendigos. Now, if you look up pictures of Wendigos online, you will find strange deer-looking men.
That does ring a bell too, actually, now that you say about it.
They'll say this thing. I'll show you a picture. You look up Wendigo, you'll see something like this.
So that is like a vaguely humanoid, very thin around the waist, but then has big shoulders and big multi-point antlers and stuff. Almost like a skeletal with a skin on.
Yeah, and it's got like a deer head.
Yeah.
That is not a traditional Wendigo. That is actually a bastardized version. That is what happens when Western culture comes in and mixes up other stories and makes their own version of a Wendigo like this. The traditional Wendigo is actually more like the ones from Until Dawn, the skinny, pale humanoids with the claws and all that.
Yeah.
Although the bastardized version of a Wendigo is really cool looking, that's not what we're talking about with Wendigos. And I think that's what happened when they tied it in with the not deer. The not deer is a deer that looks a little off. It's like the eyes will be facing forward, or its knees will move wrong, or they'll walk bipedal. It'll transform, like it'll like open its jaw and it'll have sharp alligator-like teeth, and it's actually just a predator that's trying to hide amongst deer to eat things.
Like a skinwalker.
Like how people think a skinwalker is, but not quite.
Oh, gotcha.
The not deer is like almost more like The Thing, like from John Carpenter's movie The Thing, where it can turn into a deer to be unassuming, but it's not quite right. And I think that's how they tie it into this new version of a Wendigo, or people called that a Wendigo, and then gave the Wendigo a deer head, and then these skinwalker, rake, Wendigo, not deer all kind of got amalgamated into one ball that's become a mess online of people who don't know what they're talking about.
Well, I mean, it's kind of understandable. Lots of similar enough stuff that no one's going to really research, because how do you research something if you don't even know if it's real or not? And it all just kind of blends in.
You say that as I've stayed up for several hours researching all the shit we've talked about.
That's what makes you different. That's what puts you above the rest.
It's the autism.
Highland old baby.
So, those are the differences between a rake, a skinwalker, a Wendigo, and a not deer. Or why the not deer is grouped in with those other three.
Okay, I'm following so far.
Okay. Well, let's go back to this phone call. So this phone call got really famous recently from a YouTube channel called Carolina Case Files. And they did a fantastic job researching this case. I actually never heard about them before this. I think they're a two-man crew. I don't know what the other guy's name is, but the main host is named Rusty. And they actually do a really good job. I will link Carolina Case Files in the show notes. So if you want to check out the video that goes in depth on this phone call, you can. They heard about this strange phone call or something and they wanted to research it. So they were trying to get in contact with the man named T. Now this was 4 years ago. So just this summer, they're trying to contact the guy. So first, they got an interview with a man named A.W. Cutler. In the video, it says that he is the sheriff of Pender County. And this is true. I looked him up. He actually is the sheriff. That's a legitimate interview. And he actually lends credence to the fact this is a real phone call. And they did investigate it. He was there. He claimed, quote, "It is hard to listen to that 911 tape without being somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time I'd heard it," end quote. So in that video, he goes over how the whole situation went, basically goes over what happened to T, the driver.
Mm-hmm.
And he even showed the CAD notes, which I have if you want to see them.
Sure.
So these are the CAD notes from T's 911 call. This is at least the drawing of the road, what the ditches looked like, little things like that.
All right.
It's very basic. It shows
Yeah,
you
it
how...
just shows essentially a truck on like a very, very light, not even really a drawing, just like a template almost. Just a road, a ditch, a truck in two spots, says it's traveling, and something pops in the back of the truck.
At 50 miles an hour. It also shows the size, how big the road was.
Yeah, it's just like I guess they'd call it like a traffic incident report.
Yes.
Because I didn't know what CAD notes were. But that's essentially what it is.
Yeah. And actually, it was the highway patrol that investigated this case. Because it was technically a traffic incident, the police had no involvement. They were more there for the bleeding man, but also the distressed guy, whatever happened to his truck. But again, once highway patrol got there, it got into their hands. The more important thing, or thing that's interesting about that, is there is actual notes from the police officers that they did investigate this, and there was something at the scene, or they did find stuff on his truck. Because they did claim that they did find the dents in his roof, the scratches on the box, everything corroborated with how the phone call went, and with the timing of how fast he was going, all the phone call did align with every part he was at during the phone call.
Talking about like with GPS or?
No, so how fast he was going, he was saying like, I'm at, I'm
like,
at Black River, I'm at this. If you did the math on how fast he was going with the phone call, because they had the whole phone call, it actually did line up with how fast he was going. Because they did get the speeds after how fast he went after he saw the creature.
Right.
And it all lined up. So he was there, it did happen. Something went to the back of his truck. After Carolina Case Files found A.W. Cutler, got an interview with him, they eventually did track down T. Now, he was very off-put by them, according to Rusty. Apparently, he would like close the door on them, be like, I don't want to talk about this. Who are you people? Like just some fringe paranormal guys. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like
guy made a call to the police, and then next thing you know, there's someone showing up at his house.
And this wasn't a thing. This isn't big until right now, because this was just a case file, a cold file.
Yeah.
Locked away.
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah. So it was just nothing, right? So this has all just been released. And it actually took him a few weeks until he was like, you guys are legitimate reporters. You want to like hear my story. You're not going to ridicule me. And then they actually convinced him to do an interview. If you want to see the whole interview, it is in the link in the show notes below, if you want to watch it. This is from the actual interview he did with Rusty. He is anonymously called T. The camera is facing Rusty, and you kind of see the back of his head, but he's stayed anonymous. T claimed he was driving from Florida up to North Carolina to see his family. That's when he saw the man covered in blood and dressed in what he described as a Civil War uniform. That's when he called 911. Eventually, the creature jumped in the back of his truck out of nowhere. He said it felt like, quote, he was pulling a heavy trailer and hit a pothole. That's how hard this thing hit his truck. He turned on his bed light to see a face in the rear window. Apparently, this creature had put its face up to the rear window with its hands on the roof, looking into his truck as if he was looking for something. The quote is, it was a snow white face that went right against the rear windshield, looking into my truck. It had shallow sunken eyes, no nose. Think if you took skin and put it on a human skull and stretched it thin. End quote. He actually didn't realize till after this all happened that he said, that's not human. Until he listened back to it, he had no idea that he screamed that. That was just a reaction. He said he was doing 55 to 60 miles per hour when he saw the creature, and after it jumped into his truck, he got up to 80 miles per hour. When he slammed on his brakes, it apparently shot his truck down to 35 miles per hour and launched the creature over top of the roof. And that's when it stood up in his headlights. He veered left around it, and its head went over his roof that's 6 feet tall. So this thing easily cleared 7 feet tall.
Must have stood up pretty fast if Buddy didn't even stop at any point.
He hit the brakes, veered left, and he said as he veered left, it went back up.
Got up as he was going around it.
Yes.
Right.
And he looked in his rear view, his bed light's still on, and he saw a glimpse of it running back across the road and into the woods. As you can hear on the phone call, he's freaked out.
Yep.
And actually, I can play the rest of that phone call with you after this. And in this video that I've showed you, this is the actual journey that he took. Because Carolina Case Files actually drove the road and tried to time it with the phone call, so you had an idea of when everything happened and what everything looked like. These guys are really good at what they do.
I love a good recreation.
I know, it's the only way you believe the Oakville blobs.
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
I don't
Was it
know.
like a turkey, a deer?
No.
Turkeys
I
are
don't
pretty
know what the
big.
hell that was. That wasn't a turkey because I was driving 50 miles an hour.
Okay.
A turkey doesn't hit that hard, and it was not covered in feathers at all.
Okay. All right, sir. What do you think it was?
I have no idea what the hell that was. And it just scared the absolute hell out of me, and I just knocked it off of my truck when I slammed on the brake.
I'm sure you did, sir. I mean, I would be scared too. I'm just trying to think is there any damage to your vehicle?
I don't know, but I'm waiting until I get further away.
Okay, sir.
I'm leaving my bed lights on.
Okay.
I don't see it anymore. I don't see it in the distance or anything.
And you think it was in the road? Did it hit the front of your truck?
It went over the roof of my truck and onto my hood and then hit the road before I took off again.
Okay.
I'm fucking shaking.
I understand, sir. And you said it didn't have feathers, so that rules out
it didn't have feathers. It looked pale almost.
Okay, it was light in color.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know if you heard that bang before I started screaming, but I heard a bang.
I
and
did.
It turned on my headlight.
I heard a thud. And back to the man that you saw, you said he was covered in blood?
It looked like he was bleeding from his head and heavily because it was going down his torso.
And was he white, black, Hispanic?
He was white, and he was staring at me as I drove by, just blankly, which kind of weirded me out, like he had some trauma, like he had blunt force trauma to his head, a possible concussion. I'm former Army, and something wasn't right. Like he had some form of brain injury. He was just staring at me the entire time as I was driving to him, and when I drive past him, and until he was out of sight.
This is just our podcast. Some guy screaming about seeing a monster, and I'm sure you did, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, Jake. I went to go eat your dog. Okay.
He might. What are you thinking so far? The dude's very scared, and this is a confirmed real 911 call.
I'm thinking something ended up in the bed of his truck there.
Wasn't a turkey.
Wasn't a turkey. Was not human.
Wasn't human.
At least a lot of animals. You know, deer like to run into the sides of... I'm not saying this is a deer before you freak out. Deer like running into stuff. It could have run into the side of a truck, flipped in the bed, you know? That's not human.
It's true. My dad got hit by a deer a few years ago. But he saw a clear vision of this guy's face.
Do you think this alleged pale crawler was the bleeding guy in the outfit?
I don't know. I
don't know how those tied together yet.
A possible victim.
Do they do LARPing around there?
Well, there was a battlefield there. There is no record around that area of a reenactment happening, but there was a battle there that happened during the Revolutionary War between Scottish Highlanders and some American soldiers. So I don't know what he saw that. Again, he's driving at 50 miles an hour at night, and he passed by this guy bleeding. I would say he's more focused on the bleeding. And he said Civil War, that could just be an old style. It could be an old style military outfit.
Yeah, but he could have just been wearing a jacket.
Who knows?
Passed by pretty quick. It's dark out.
Yeah.
Although, how late did you say it was?
11 o'clock at night.
11 o'clock at night.
I think lots of people initially were like, Skinwalker. And he transformed into a pale crawler. Not how it works with the Skinwalker, as I've gone over with you. More likely, to me, is that was a victim. That was somebody that was attacked. That's what I think.
Yeah, that could make sense.
Here's the thing. This isn't far from another case that we talked about. The Lizard Man of Skateboard Swamp. This is about 2 hours away. And that's another guy who got attacked by something on the side of the road as well at night. I know you don't like the Lizard Man.
I think Chris drove into the bush and lied.
Okay. Well, here's the thing.
And he's bad at drawing.
Okay, yeah, I know. Everyone mocks Chris. But here, we have an actual 911 call.
We do. A bit more.
And we have actual evidence from the cops. They saw the truck. They saw the dents. They saw the scratches. None of this was made public until years later. But a bigger thing than just it being close to the Lizard Man of Skateboard Swamp, this is near a very infamous mountain range. The Appalachian mountain range.
A lot of weird stuff does go on there.
Yes, and these are the creatures they're talking about in those Appalachian mountain videos. These have been called pale crawlers. They've been called wood boogers. They've been called, in modern times, Appalachian skinwalkers. But people around the area claim these are real. They see them all the time. This is why they have rules in Appalachia. Have you heard the rules of Appalachia?
I don't believe so.
rules of Appalachia, basic rules, is if you hear your name called, no, you didn't. If you hear whistling, no, you didn't. If you hear someone calling for help, no, you didn't. And every night, close all your blinds, or something will make its way inside. That is rules for living in the country of Appalachia.
Why would anyone live there?
I don't know. I think
Seems like if that was something you believed in, that's not somewhere you would stay.
I don't know. Lots of people just like the place where they live, I find, and make it home. It's happened a lot when I've talked to you guys from the United States. They bought this property, or this property's been in their family for years. It means a lot to them.
And that's why everyone lives in Tornado Valley and rebuilds every year?
I guess so. Maybe it's like, this is a big part. This is my property, my land. I take care of it. Part of the culture.
Sure.
And if you've been raised with this sort of stuff, you just know how to defend it. Like, hear your name? No, you didn't. Hear a whistle? No, you didn't. Someone calling for help? No, you didn't. And close your blinds and you'll be okay.
I mean, it's a pretty small checklist.
Yeah.
3 of them don't require any action.
Exactly. And also a big one is stay on the paths. If you veer off the paths, sometimes you won't find your way back. Another weird thing about Appalachia, it is home to some of the biggest cave systems in North America. And these humanoids that we're talking about are pale and nocturnal. They are all seen along this stretch of Appalachia. Listen to think about.
It adds up.
It does. That's the thing. It is a location. It's very rural, extremely rural. And A.W. Cutler actually talked about in this video from Carolina Case Files how there's 2 sides to North Carolina. There's the east side, which is more like the beaches, and there's the west side, which they call the country. Lots of police calls from the western parts of North Carolina are of strange things happening that they send cops out and that they can't explain, like strange creatures that they see. And it's not just in North Carolina, it's all the way up the eastern part of the United States, all along the mountain range.
Huh.
So this does line up with the location and the sightings and everything. When the police eventually met up with T, they wanted him to take him back where he saw it. And he said, fuck no. Basically, he apparently stammered and waited a while, and he tried to hold them off for a bit until he felt comfortable enough that he could go back there. Maybe the creature had gone off.
Yeah.
Eventually, he did go back, and they inspected the area, and both sheriffs and highway patrol, judging by the call, as said, the speed he was going did line up time-wise with the call. But the wildlife department even got involved. They put out drones with thermal imaging and started searching around the area, but they couldn't find the creature that was seen on the man's truck. But as I've stated, lots of cave systems near Appalachia.
Any near the area he was?
They are all over around that area. I don't know, they might know entrances that we don't, or they could hide well.
Yeah, fair enough. A lot of caves, there's just a tiny opening barely visible from the surface, and it opens right up.
And if these things are as skinny as they say, maybe they could fit in places that we can't.
Yeah.
So they could not find anything. But as said before, this is not the first time that a creature like this has been spotted. I actually had to buy a book for this case. And I want to shout out Wen from Cryptozoology Facts. That's the best cryptid Facebook page ever. If you're into cryptids, like it, follow it. She does amazing work. I reached out to her asking if there was any actual reports or cases that I could research about this topic.
Right.
And she said that there was this book. The book is called Crawlers, a conclusive case book by Nathaniel Brislin. So thank you, Wen, for showing me the book. I'm not going to be reading from the book.
When Diggo told you about a book about fucking Wendigos? Are you kidding me?
I never looked into her full name.
Oh my goodness.
Oh shit! No wonder she knows so much about cryptids. She is one.
Yeah, it's adding up real fast. Don't visit if she offers to come visit.
She does seem very nice, but I think she wants to eat us. That might be why.
Well, if you hear her say your name, no, you didn't.
I don't want to read the cases because it's not my work. If you want to read the book, go buy it on Amazon. It's $20. And this book is just all eyewitness testimony with pictures and drawings. And when I say pictures, I mean actual pictures. Nathaniel Brislin actually went to the areas where these creatures were sighted. and he talked to the eyewitnesses. I want to remind you that all of these photos are from people unbeknownst to each other, and they're from all over America. Some of them are from the Appalachian region. Some of them are even from as close as Montana. All over the place. And another thing that is interesting is there's a lot of reports of cryptids that are not counted as pale crawlers, but should be. One of those is the Dover Demon. So the Dover Demon was something that was seen in Dover, Massachusetts back in the late 1970s. 3 people saw it in one night, all not known by each other, and they all had their own witness statements and drawings of the creature. These are the drawings of the Dover Demon.
Better than Chris's drawing, I'll tell you that.
Better than Chris's drawing, and they all look similar.
They look kind of like tiny little bodies and just a huge, bulbous head.
Yes.
Almost like exaggerated classic alien.
Yeah. People.
And then like a wiener dog version of it down below.
Yeah, the last drawing isn't as great, but the other guys were really good drawing. So the thing is about the Dover Demon is lots of people talk about pale crawlers not having a mouth or exposing their mouth as they get closer or anything like that. But the Dover Demon was pale, had orangey eyes, and it had like a pinkish tinge to its pale skin. And some say that this could be a young pale crawler because pale crawlers are reported for anywhere from 3 to 5 feet tall to 8 feet tall. And some of the smaller ones are reported like this. And other cases of quote unquote Wendigo, quote unquote skinwalker, quote unquote pale crawler sightings kind of look like this, or they look like the big one that I've shown you before. So the sightings do stay the same through history. And because there's so many names just seemingly describing the same thing, lots of reports kind of get missed and they don't get bunched up into one big case, which they should be.
Right.
That's the Dover Demon. Here's some other pictures drawn of pale crawlers from witnesses from this book, Crawlers, a Conclusive Case Book by Nathaniel Brislin.
That looks more humanoid with a more regular sized head. Just a sketch, but I could see like ribs, meaning it's probably like very thin, and just large black eyes and a black mouth and little dots for a nose. But that could just be it could be regular nose. I can't really tell.
Lots of them say the nose is like Voldemort, 2 slits in the face.
Yeah.
So this is another drawing from the book from a witness. It was allegedly seen in a shed in that position as it looked over at him.
Right, that just looks like a man with a scary bald head squatted down looking over the shoulder.
Yes, but extremely pale.
Pale and thin.
Yes.
That looks kind of silly.
They all kind of look the same, though.
Yeah.
They all are pale humanoids, skinny bodies with strange, disproportionate limbs, and apparently they all move the same. Jittery, not quite right. They look like they're like glitching out when they're moving around.
The biggest difference I see between some of them is the head.
Sometimes they got like a big head. Sometimes they got like a regular sized head. The bigger head seems to be on the smaller ones. Lots of the smaller reports of pale crawlers have the more Dover demon-y type head. However, the bigger ones, it almost seems like they grow into it. Kind of like how human children grow into their eyes or their ears. Like, you know, at first they all look big and then they grow into it and they look normal. Same thing could be with a pale crawler. And I will be posting all of these images to see. They all look the same, skinny humanoids with long appendages. And they're all described the same. These are all people that don't know each other all across the United States of America. And as I said, sightings go back at least to the 40s. We have several witnesses. In this book, I think we have at least 30 witnesses alone.
Has anyone snapped a photo of one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have videos, brother.
Videos?
Yeah, you want to see them?
Off of top 5 scary moments on YouTube?
No. I got some videos for you.
That was a Wendigo.
Burger King foot lettuce.
I keep saying Wendigo, but you know I'm obviously referring to pale crawlers because this is not a Wendigo episode.
It's not, but here's the thing: is as I said, these go back hundreds of years, but these creatures go from like not really having a name until the 2020s when people started calling them pale crawlers. Before that, called them the rake, or Wendigo, or skinwalker. But these descriptions go back thousands of years with the natives of the region. They all talk about these skinny, pale humanoids that mimic, throw voices, attract people off of the paths, and they are cannibalistic Wendigos. So I think these were once called Wendigos.
Cannibalistic implies they're human?
The story of a Wendigo from native tribes is it is a person that succumbed to cannibalism. And what I mean by succumb to is that they got into cannibalism. They were starving in the woods with a friend, and their only choice was to cannibalize them and eat them. And anyone who fell for that, it's like a temptation. You become these cannibalistic monsters. That's their origin story. So lots of people believe that that's how Wendigos were made. There's lots of stories to how things were made, but that's how they describe the creatures, which are still seen to this day, same as Bigfoot. These are all creatures that are described by native tribes.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a few confirmed stories of pale crawlers. Back in June 14th of 2008, near a forested area in Higgins Lake, Michigan, 2 unnamed men were injured and 1 was killed. The police apparently passed it off as a quote-unquote bear attack, officially. But the validity of a bear attack is unlikely. There was a video that has since been lost, shown to have disproved that theory. In July 23rd, 2013, in upstate New York, near Niagara, a crawler was seen by a park ranger. His job was threatened, saying that he would lose his job to, quote, unruly conduct and, quote, poor mental capability and, quote, an inability to distinguish reality from fiction. The crawler was caught on camera, but the ranger service confiscated the evidence as, quote, official evidence, and it has not been released. April 19th, 2022, near Elkhorn, Wisconsin, a sighting of a possible crawler occurred in the intersection of Tell and Bray. Due to its location, it's been debated whether it was a crawler or possibly the Beast of Bray Road, which is a werewolf, but I don't think it was that. The thing is that the Forest Service has confiscated information on certain things. Like we've talked about with missing 411 cases, they hide information on who goes missing in their parks. And some people say that these pale crawlers are the reason for those people going missing in parks, and they don't want it to get out. How are we doing over there?
Everything's always very convenient when there's stuff's gone missing or stuff never got released. It's like, well, like there's the conspiracy side of it, and then there's the stuff can go missing, or was it even ever there?
Yes.
The video reportedly disproved it, but now no one can find the video. What do I do with that, right?
Yeah, it's really not that captivating. Good thing I have videos for you.
Perfect. That's what I was waiting for. No more of this missing stuff. No more lost footage. Let's find some found footage.
This video I called the dirt bike footage. A man was allegedly riding his dirt bike around the Appalachian Mountains. He's just doing like a bike trail. And he begins to find strange bones all around the ground and trees being kind of knocked over into his path. Then at the very end, he sees something. And the panic is real evident on him. This is filmed on a GoPro.
Even more bones than last time. Looks like we've already passed it a while ago, but that tree is gone. Oh! It's just dark as hell in here. I'm probably gonna turn around soon. Oh, there's 2 ways. Holy crap, dude, this trail goes on forever. It just got really quiet really fast. That was my cue to leave.
I thought I saw either this video or maybe it was another one, because didn't he go back or something? I thought there was a video that showed, or there was an audio of someone like saying help or yelling or something.
That was when he went back.
Right.
He went back to investigate, but his page is mainly dirt biking videos.
Yeah.
But he went back to investigate, and then something was going, hey, and he went, nope, and he just left, and that's the last time he did anything with this sort of shit, as far as I could tell.
Yeah.
But that is something he caught on his GoPro.
What a good way to blow up your channel.
Possibly. But also, no one's come out to say that it was faked, and I have not seen anyone disprove it yet. It's creepy though. It's creepy as hell.
It is. I mean, Buddy sounded really panicked there.
And honestly, as a guy who was raised in the woods, I've heard that silence before. When all of that goes, it does go quiet like that.
Yeah.
And that's how you know something's around you don't want to deal with. Not as extreme as a Wendigo or a pale crawler, but like a cougar. And it does not feel good. Let me tell you that. I'm sure you've probably experienced it too.
Absolutely. When the frogs stop, it's time to leave.
It's like, fuck. This is called the Is That a Cow video. It's not a cow, spoiler alert. This is one of my favorite videos of an alleged pale crawler. This is another one that has not been debunked.
Is that a cow? What is that? Oh, frick!
Confirmed not a cow.
Confirmed not a cow.
Filmed on a flip phone.
Yeah, this is an old video. I believe that was... They say it was a 2022 video, but I've seen it before that. I think it's like an early 2010s video.
Right. It's just a short clip of blurry video, hard to make out anything, and then you see something kind of pale and humanoid skedaddling towards Buddy.
Yeah. The panic sound real to me.
Yeah.
And now I've got one last video. Take all these videos as I don't know if they're real, but they haven't been debunked.
Okay.
Because lots of people don't come out about this shit because they're scared about it, as you've heard from T before, and how he didn't want to do an interview until they really convinced him for weeks. This video is called the That's Not a Buck video.
Big buck or something. Wait, stop right there. What is that? Is that a buck? What is that? Dude, that's not a buck, dude. That's not... Dude, go, 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 go.
I don't buy that one. That one seemed like acting.
It's just another one people bring up. I think there's some credence to the dirt bike video.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some credence to the Is That a Cow video. And we have thousands of reports of pale crawlers. So many reports, in fact, that there is a map that keeps track of them. This is the crawler map.
That's everywhere except Africa.
Yeah.
They're pretty much all in the US. There's a good amount around Western Europe. Not even just Western Europe, it goes down to, looks like around Turkey. A ton of them, mostly in the US.
And the thing is that all of these sightings line up with the biggest cave systems in their area. This is a lot of sightings.
There's even one in northern BC.
Yes, there is. I actually know somebody who allegedly saw a pale crawler in Shawnigan Lake.
Oh yeah? Is Buddy reputable?
I don't know. She has always been honest with me. She claims that when she was trying to go to bed, she left her curtains open and she had a screen door in her room. And something pale white and humanoid went up to the screen door and watched her. And then eventually went away.
We live in Canada?
We do.
There's, you know what? We have a lot of pale white humanoids. People.
She claimed that the limbs and everything was disproportionate and the way it stood was not right for it to be a human. That's just what she claims.
And what, did she just stare back until it left?
Yeah. And that's pretty common, actually. A lot of people claim they see them at the windows and they just look at them until they leave. Because they don't know what to do. What the fuck are you supposed to do? Sometimes they think they're aliens. Sometimes they think they're angels. Like, people do not know what to make of these things. But literally thousands of reports going back, at least to the 40s in modern civilization, but going back even further in native cultures. I don't know what you're thinking right now. You're just looking at me.
It's a lot of sightings.
It's a lot of sightings. That's the thing. And they're all...
sorry, that's a lot of reports.
A lot of reports. And these are only ones that are filed on the map. There could be a lot more. As you saw with T, he did not want to talk about this. The phone call just got out, and that's what attracted attention to it.
How and why do you think that phone call got out?
I'm unsure. Carolina Case Files did do follow-up video where they talked about like how they got there. They debunked a bunch of stuff. People said it was AI. They went over everything. It was like, nope. And so they did follow up and just went through all the information. I watched the video. I don't want to get into it here. Go watch the video. It's good. It's good stuff. But basically, they were investigating claims of this phone call happening, and they found it and wanted to investigate it. This is a real phone call. A lot of people cite these things that are not attached, that do not know each other, and the description of them is all the same. And we do have stories in the native cultures. That's a big thing that goes back thousands of years. What's going through your mind right now?
I'm thinking they seem to be frickin' everywhere, and a hell of a lot of people are seeing them, but there's like no recovered body of one at all ever. Or...
No recovered body of one, but they all are around cave systems. The weird thing about pale crawlers, especially in North America, is the sightings align with the cave systems. The cave systems align with the reports of missing people in North America.
I mean, I'd imagine a ton of these sightings are probably getting to that skinwalker Wendigo territory as well, if they're as spread out as they are.
What do you mean?
If I saw a creepy pale thing in the woods, and I happen to be over in Arkansas, that's Arkansas for our Canadian listeners. I mean, it could be any of the things we mentioned at the very start here, whether it have been a Wendigo, a skinwalker, not deer. Any of those things probably get filed underneath the same crawler sighting, essentially.
Well, this map is for crawlers. So people reporting pale crawlers or white humanoids. People who said they saw a Wendigo, who says they would report it to the map. You know, these people that report it.
Well, I mean, you'd have to be kind of well versed in it to know any sort of difference between them or even the names of them.
Lots of people just say pale white humanoids.
Yeah.
Or the rake. A common thing in the populace is they say they saw the rake.
Yeah, which is just one of the other things.
And it's a creepypasta.
Yeah.
It's not real. But these things are seen. Which makes people think the rake is real, but it's not. But something like the rake. And there's more videos than what I've shown you.
Mm-hmm.
There's more pictures than what I've shown you. I literally found a hour-long compilation of alleged video and picture sightings on YouTube that you can go down. Hard evidence is hard to come by. But we do have some videos that, at least some that aren't debunked or aren't obviously fake. We do have that phone call. That phone call is extremely tantalizing. There is something there. That guy saw something. He was scared of something. Something wrecked his truck.
Are there any photos of the truck?
There was photos of the truck, but this was 4 years ago. He got photos. His phone fell into the lake when he was on a fishing trip, and he has sold the truck since. Because he didn't think this was going to come up again. He thought this was a private thing, right?
Yeah.
It happened, called the police. He was more concerned about the man who was hurt. He doesn't really think about the creature that he saw. He moved on. He got pictures, showed the cops saw it, showed his friends, whatever, kept it private. That was it. 4 years later, new phone, new truck. That's all we got.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to talk about this again. And I don't blame him. A lot of people who actually talk about pale crawlers, I have not seen more anonymous people come forward about pale crawlers. They'll like give you photos of their location. They'll give you like background information. They'll tell you about the area they're in, and they'll be correct, but they won't give their names. This is like a big thing in the zeitgeist of civilization. You talk about strange pale humanoids in the woods, you're kind of a nutcase. But a lot of people report them.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it.
And I just think it's strange that they correlate with the cave systems, the Appalachian mountain range, and where the most missing people in North America are.
Well, according to this map, the entirety of the United States is cave systems.
Yeah, the majority of the cave systems are more on the eastern side of the states.
Yeah.
And then they're more there's some on the west side as well. In the middle, it kind of becomes barren.
It's a pretty easy correlation if there's that many.
There is, but here's the thing, okay?
Yep.
Here's the map of the pale crawlers. This is the reports, and I'll show you a map of cave systems and missing people. The top is missing peoples in the United States. The bottom is the largest cave systems in the United States. Here's the correlation.
Matches up really good on the everything except for the west coast. Seems like there's a lot of missing compared to caves at the very west side, but it lines up pretty perfectly for most of it here.
It does.
Almost exactly.
Here's the crawler map.
Yeah, seems to be.
It correlates almost perfect, almost too perfect for a coincidence. And the thing is the parks have tried to cover things up about their missing peoples. And we might get into that on another episode soon.
I'm excited.
You should be. But that'll be in the future. Right now, we're talking about pale crawlers.
We are talking about pale crawlers.
This is all I've got for you on pale crawlers today. Is there any questions you have?
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy phone call. I don't know. It's hard when most of it is like blurry videos and eyewitness reports.
Yes.
That being said, it's also, I don't know. It's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's like, oh, there's videos. Oh, the videos look like they could be fake because it's showing something that I've never seen before.
That's the hard thing about trying to prove paranormal things.
Yeah.
People ask for a video. Show them a video. Well, it's fake. Prove it's fake. They can't.
Yeah.
Same thing with Bigfoot. You show them a Bigfoot video. It's fake. How? Show me.
Well, exactly. And you're like saying the ones you show me haven't been debunked, but the only debunking you can do is someone in the comments being like, that's not real.
That's fake.
Yeah.
Some people like actual. There's just like a way you can debunk it. Is if lots of guys who can scan for CGI.
Yep.
And stuff like that can look for that. People
Right.
can look at costumes and figure it out that way.
Yeah, there definitely is ways. I don't know if any of the people who are skilled enough to do that are taking the time to go through these silly 19-second videos on YouTube.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. There's a really good show called
It's probably an AI program you could use these days.
There is, actually. There's a show on the History Channel. It's like the truth is out there or something. It's on the History Channel. It's really good. Basically, what they do is they have witness videos, and they try to confirm or deny them through debunking process. And they get guys who are video analysts, biologists. They had Jeff Meldrum on there a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and they would discuss what this could be. And they actually try to debunk it. And sometimes they're like, we don't know what this is. There is a lot more videos and a lot more pictures online you can find. And when sometimes people bring up about pale crawlers is, how come there's no tracks? Why can't we find tracks? I think we do. And what I mean by that is their appendages are very off. And they got big long legs and big long fingers and big long arms and tiny torsos and weird heads, all that stuff. I was at the Bigfoot Museum recently in Harrison Hot Springs. And there was a track in there that did not look like a Bigfoot track to me. One of the things that stood out, it was very slender. And it was twice the size of every other track in that museum. And I saw it, and in my opinion, I said, well, some say that's just a really big, slender Bigfoot. And I said, well, no one saw the Bigfoot. They see a humanoid track in the ground. I thought that could be a paleocrawler track. It was found deep in the woods near Bluff Creek, which is a common Bigfoot area, but it was back in the 1950s when Bigfoot was all the rage. I think maybe they took a track like that and immediately assumed Bigfoot because humanoid and big in the woods.
How long was this?
20 inches.
None of the sketches you've shown me have like big feet like that.
Not all of them. No. Sometimes they have like weird springly feet. Sometimes they have long. Sometimes they have short suctions. Lots of the time, people don't look at the feet. They're more focused on the deep black eye sockets. Sometimes these things move so fast you don't get a good look at all.
Yeah, that's fair. I probably wouldn't be looking at the feet.
And what I'm saying is that maybe some of these humanoid tracks we find in the woods aren't all Bigfoot. Sometimes we might find something else. But I assume that it's Bigfoot, because Bigfoot is a lot more well known than Wendigos or pale crawlers.
You want to go look for a pale crawler sometime?
I'd rather slit my throat.
We could go visit Roger, and then we could visit him, disrespect him, and then immediately go into the Appalachian Mountains and try to find a crawler.
And then after we do that, we can go to the Ogopogo, go swimming across the lake.
Big lake, I don't know if I could swim that far.
I knew a guy that did.
Did he get eaten by a sea serpent?
No, but he saw an eye right beside his face. Here's the thing, as I talked to him, and he was like doing front crawl. And he went to take a breath. It's like 1, 2, 3. On the third stroke, you take a breath. And when he turned, he just saw an eye. And he flipped out, and it just dove back under. Now, he was talking to me. He's like, it was just a sturgeon, though. And I went, you sure? He went, oh, it has to be. There's nothing else that big in the lake. But there's no confirmed species of sturgeon in Okanagan. So I don't know what he saw.
There's no confirmed species of Ogopogo in the lake either.
Just as mysterious.
I don't know if it's just as mysterious, but
in my opinion. Anyway.
Arguably more mysterious.
Arguably.
What if an Ogopogo is kind of like the sturgeon version of the human centipede?
Join us next week because James dives into his first episode.
Think about it. That's why they're hiding it. They're like, you can't let people know about this.
Not one person has thought about it, and that's the problem.
I'm here for the new theories all the time. You know this.
Frogmen are MK Ultra. Robert did the blobs in the Washington, and he's on the CIA director's board.
Wait until you find out who sewed those sturgeon together.
I'm waiting.
The CIA. What? They don't want you to know about it. They sewed those poor fish together and set it free.
Okay, we're getting very off track. Do you have any more questions about the pale crawlers?
Do you have any like more fun facts about them? Like, do they show up at a certain time of year? Have they ever been seen? I guess. Well, that one video it showed me was during the day. A couple of those were all in the light.
Like evening
Yeah.
time. Lots of the videos are usually in evening or night. Settings are evening and nighttime.
More summer, winter, all over the place.
They're kind of all over the place. I think they're more in the summer. But the reason I think people are more in the summer is because people are outside more.
They probably get cold too. They're pale and
Live in a
thin.
cave. They've adapted to live in a cave, apparently. But there's not much else really about them. They're pretty mysterious. But there's just a lot of sightings of strange, pale, tall, skinny humanoids.
Okay. I know cave diving is very popular in the States. As you said, there are lots of caves there.
Yes, there are.
Has anyone come across any of these things inside of a cave?
Yes, there are stories in caves. There's videos of crawlers in caves. The legitimacy of these videos, I'm not sure. But that's just something else. Like, these things are seen in the woods. There's videos online you can see of them in caves. There's a video in Russia of one allegedly in a well. I can't tell. Again, it's just I can't tell you the legitimacy of whether it's real or not.
Yeah.
That's the only issue. It's just that there is a lot of videos and there is a lot of sightings going back decades in modern times and thousands of years in native times. You know, they're all over the place, and the names changed.
So I know we're going to get into it in a different episode.
Yep.
But like all these overlapping maps, do you think there's various reasons for it? Like there are various different theories, or does it all basically come back to pale people around these caves, people go missing?
So these people going missing in these areas.
Because like we could do an episode about this. We could do one on the 411.
This is the 411.
This is the 411.
So pale crawlers tie into Wendigos that tie into the 411 that tie into the cave systems. It all kind of connects.
Okay.
Which ties into the national park covering up missing peoples.
Yes.
This all ties together. Lots of people think that they could be feral people.
Mhm.
It could be pale crawlers or Wendigos. It could be Bigfoot. Although a lot of people who are believers in Bigfoot don't agree with the Bigfoot theory. And some say it could be a spiritual thing or a portal thing. People just disappear. We don't know. But hold your questions on missing 411 stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because it might be coming soon.
Yeah. Maybe. Is there sort of like an origin story to these pale crawlers?
No. That's the thing. These things didn't have a name. They've been cited since the 1940s. People would just call them pale humanoids. It wouldn't really be counted as a cryptid. It's just something strange people saw. And it wasn't until the internet people started tying together. A lot of people see these all over the world. And then the rake story came out. People started calling it the rake. And then the internet got convoluted with TikTok and they started calling them skinwalkers, wendigos, everything like that. And they're not the same. And then people started making this new description of a wendigo with a deer head and more of a beast, which isn't real or isn't the actual description of a wendigo. I think these things were wendigos. I think this is what the native tribes all over North America called the wendigo because it throws the voices. It tries to get people off of pathways. It is pale, extremely skinny. It's got the claws. It's nocturnal, lives in caves. All these things tied to Wendigo legends, but are now being put on pale crawlers. So I think Western civilization put so much discredit to Wendigos that they weren't believing them. And then eventually people started seeing them as they started entering their territory that we didn't have names for them. And they were so outlandish, no one even thought about them being real. And now that they've become more of a phenomena as they've tied the cases together in modern times, I think these were once Wendigos.
Right. Like a subspecies almost.
No, I think these are Wendigos.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've basically been thinking the same thing the whole time too, is they sound fairly, not identical, but fairly.
Just the regions are the same, the stories are the same, the descriptions are the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's what I think they are.
Okay. Well, we're on the same page with that then. Yeah, I don't really know what else to ask here.
I don't think you really expected something like this today.
Well, that's the fun thing. I never know what to expect.
At least it's fun for you.
Yeah.
Well, with that, James, do you want to get to our conclusions?
Sure.
Alrighty. So today, James, on our case of the pale crawlers and the "that's not human" 911 call, on our scale from 1 to 5. 1, I'm an idiot. 2, you're skeptical. 3, you're on the fence. 4, there might be something strange here. 5, there are strange, skinny, pale humanoids haunting the Appalachian Mountains and parts of the rest of the world. Where do you come down to today?
Today, I think I come down to a nice modest 3.
Holy shit, okay.
You know, being blunt, there's not enough to get me over that fence.
Didn't think so.
There's barely enough to get me to the fence.
Mhm.
But that phone call and a couple of those videos, I don't know whether... I mean, the phone call is real.
Phone call's real.
Videos, we don't know if they're real or not, but the people sound freaked out.
Yeah.
I mean, people can be good actors. People can fake being freaked out, but I don't know the difference. So I can't completely discount them. Nor are the videos obviously fake. It's hard to tell because it's always something small moves fast in the distance of a blurry video. So it's always hard to tell, but yeah, I don't know. A lot of people do go missing.
They do.
In those along, like, you know, that map's overlaid.
And there's thousands of witnesses.
Thousands of witnesses.
That all are all over the world, didn't know each other, and have just started to come together as the internet's become a thing.
I wonder what that one person in Portugal on the map saw.
I can tell you what I saw. A white, pale humanoid.
If you click on those things, does it give you descriptions of the reports?
I actually don't know.
Click on the one in Portugal here.
A Reddit post.
On r/crawler sightings.
People do talk about it on Reddit a lot.
So fun fact, if you look up that link, you can click on the spots and looks like it'll take you to whatever the report allegedly is.
I will be putting these in the show notes, so you can check out the pictures. Well, you can check out the pictures on our normal social pages, but I'll be putting other links to the videos and everything else in our show notes, so everybody can check them out. Well, James.
You sound surprised I got to a 3.
I am surprised, but also I worked really hard on this case, so I'm happy that I could get you to a 3.
Well, I couldn't just be brutal and destroy you.
There really isn't that much to destroy other than the fact that, you know...
There is. Maybe I gave it too high of a rating.
Anyway, I couldn't get James over the fence this week, but I got him right to it.
Perfect. Don't give me a chance to second guess it.
Nope.
Take the 3 and run.
I'm taking the 3 and run.
Wait. Before that, what do you give it?
I'm a solid 4. I think there's something strange here. I think there's enough sightings that are not connected and maps that correlate with sightings that make a lot of sense. There are sightings of juveniles and adults, and I think there is something to it. Also, there's native legends that go back thousands of years, which also helps it for me.
There you go. I thought you would have been a 5, honestly.
I'm not a 5. I think there's something strange here. Whether these are real beings or something, I think maybe a 4.5. I'd say.
You've spoken. You've brought up. I know they're different skinwalkers and wendigos and stuff quite often, and you have talked about the 401 many times and the cave systems. So it's kind of assumed it was. It's kind of assumed it was 5.
I don't know if everything's all connected to that.
Right. Fair enough.
I do believe there's something here. What these creatures are, I don't know. But my 4.5 is that, like, I believe this.
Yeah.
But
it is not without a doubt.
No, without a doubt. There's a little bit of doubt in me, but there's a lot of stuff that points me in the direction that there's something here worth investigating.
For sure.
Thank you for listening, everybody. If you enjoy what we're doing here, please rate and follow on Spotify. It goes a long way. And subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on all our socials, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for updates and case photos. The link is in the description of every episode. We also have the show notes that will give you links to all the videos that I showed James today. Also, share with your friends. Word of mouth is the best advertisement, and it is free. And if you have any case ideas, or if I've made a mistake and I've missed something, you can email us at darkdosenpod@gmail.com. James, as always, any words to the wise?
You live near a cave system. Maybe don't go outside when it's getting dark. But if you do, bring a good camera, because I would love to see a great photo or video.
When to go inside.
When to go inside, when to don't go outside, and when did you take a camera.
And thank you, Wen, for the book suggestion, if that is your real name.
Yeah, I'm a little suspicious on when.
All right. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye. Thank you, everybody.